Hello, this is Renegade Gamer, and well, we're here to talk about the movie. I'm going to talk about this as spoiler-free as I can for a while. The big question is, should you see Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice? Is it worth your money? Well, the question really boils down to whether you liked Man of Steel or if you didn't. Personally, I liked Man of Steel, but for a completely different reason than a lot of people did. When that came out, I thought it was a pretty interesting science fiction movie. I just didn't know how I felt about it as a Superman movie. And to be honest with you, that movie's got a lot of problems, but I still overall like the movie. I just don't love it. And with Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, I can honestly say that it's another movie that I like, but I don't love. And it's got a lot of problems. And whether or not you're willing to put up with those problems is going to be a personal matter in your own accord. It's something you're going to have to figure out for yourself. I know it's been getting shredded with the critics. But we all knew that the movie's going to make the money anyway, because I mean it's Batman and Superman. But let's get down to some nuts and bolts here. So what is going on with this film? Well, like I said, I'm going to be as spoiler free as I can for a certain time. When I decide to talk about spoilers, I will say so. The performances in the movie, for the most part, are very good. Henry Cavill as Superman, he does a really good job being Superman. The way that character is written, and I use that very, very light. I'll get into the problems with him in the spoiler section. Ben Affleck, a lot of people were really, really hesitant about Ben Affleck being Batman. He does a really good job. I liked his take on Batman. I liked his acting performance. And to be honest with you, I didn't have an issue when they cast him for it. I was like, oh, okay, Ben Affleck is Batman. All right, well, yeah, I can see that. Because I didn't, I'm one of the few people in the world that actually didn't think he did a bad job in Daredevil. That's more the director's fault with the company and everything. But that's a whole different story. Anyway, I think her name's Gal Gadot. I'm not really sure how to pronounce her last name. I apologize. That's Wonder Woman. She did a very good job. I liked her as Wonder Woman. There are some problems. Once again, in the spoiler section. Amy Adams did a good job. What is his name? The guy that played Alfred. Oh man, I can't. Oh, Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons. Scar from Lion King. That's right. He did a real good job. He had a lot of nice little quirks that he'd throw in there, just like Alfred would. So that was all fine. The acting, up for the most part, is fine. The only one that kind of felt Jesse Eisenberg was... I'm not really sure what they were doing with the character Lex Luthor in the movie, but he did fine. I'm just not really sure who that character is supposed to be exactly. I mean, I realize it's Alexander Luthor, but I don't know. It's just strange. That's pretty much the main cast. That's pretty much everybody I can think of that really matters to the plot. I mean, yes, you have Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White, and I guess that's it. I really can't think of anybody. Oh, well, you had the guy to play Aquaman. I don't remember his name. And that shows up at one point, but that's nothing you don't know if you hadn't followed this movie. So, I mean, the acting performances are fine. The action. I have this problem these days with a lot of movies that I watch of the action being a little bit too fast, that it's kind of hard to tell what's going on in it. And unfortunately, Batman vs. Superman, they have a lot of action sequences that I had a lot of problems figuring out what the hell is going on in the action sequences. I can enjoy it, but I can't stand it when I'm watching something and I can't figure out who who's throwing what punch and where, or if a car's yanking something around, where that car's going, or where I am in the scene itself. I mean, what are we supposed to be focusing on, or who's throwing whatever. That's what kind of my point is. That the action was good, but a little bit too fast for my taste. I know some people like that, but for my taste, that was kind of an issue. And so yeah, I will say this: the movie has a lot of pointless scenes. There's a lot of dream sequences in the film. It's really loaded with them. The editing, honestly, is not that good. A lot of times you're lost. You don't know where you came from, how characters got from point A to point B. Some of the dialogue is really bad. To the point where you don't really understand what's going on in the story, which kind of brings me to the story itself. The story's, if I'm being honest with you, the story's not good. It really isn't. They have a lot of nice ideals, and this is why I do like the movie. It has a lot of good ideals, and they put it to film. Unfortunately, the story doesn't seem to identify with the ideals it has, so it kind of ends up being a mess of a film. So yeah. Let's see what else. Music. Honestly, I don't remember a single bit of music in this movie. I know a lot of people. I've seen a lot of other reviewers out there and everything talking, and they're all like, the Wonder Woman thing was awesome. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember any of the music in the movie. I cannot recall a single beat of music within this film. It was so forgettable to me. I mean, I can remember musical beats from Man of Steel. I can remember musical beats from all the Dark Knight trilogy, from Avengers. I mean, I remember a lot of musical beats. This film, I could not recall a single beat in the whole film. Visually, the movie is impressive looking. It has a lot of cool effects. The CGI is not that bad, exception of one character, which is in spoilers. What else can I talk about here before I hit the spoiler section? I guess that's it. I really can't think of anything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and score this movie here, and then we'll get to the spoiler section and the problems of the film directly. If you want to see this film, I would say go into the movie. I'm not really sure. If you want to see the film, then go ahead. But I'm not going to push you either way on this, because honestly, it's your decision. You should just know that this movie does have a lot of problems, and there's a lot of reasons why the critics have been ripping it apart, and there's a lot of reasons that the internet has completely tore this movie apart, or will. So you should know that. But whether or not you like it, that is your opinion. Like I said, I like the movie, but it is a very problematic movie. So my score for this will probably be a 3 out of 5. I'm just giving it flat out average. It probably deserves lower, but I mean, I do like the movie, so it will be one I probably watch again. So I'm going to say 3 out of 5. It probably deserves a 2.5 out of 5, to be honest with you. So there you are. So from this point forward, I will speak spoilers. So if you do not want to hear, if you've not seen this movie, you don't want to know anything else about it, please turn the video off right now, because from this point on, I will be speaking in spoilers. I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, so that's fine. All right, so here we are in the spoiler section. Let's talk about story. This movie does not seem to know where it characters are not very. The characters themselves are not very likable. Superman in the entirety of the movie, to me, this is how it came off. I went to this movie, watched it with my brother, and we discussed it for a long time out there. Superman's a dick in this film, and there's no other way for me to see that. He's a complete dick. But, and then Batman is kind of a psychopath, but I can at least identify with Batman in a way, whereas Superman I can't, which is really strange. Lex Luthor, I have no freaking clue what his ultimate plan is. I couldn't understand where he was coming from. He was like he was a different character every scene that he came in. He essentially was kind of playing the Jokerish, the older Joker, like Jack Nicholson in a way. Riddler from Frank Gorshin's, Frank Gorshin in the original Batman show with Adam West. Wonder Woman, while I liked her, honestly, she was kind of pointless. She does play a part in the end, but you still could have written her completely out of the movie and it would have been fine. I'm just being honest. Lois, there's a subplot with Lois that is played out for way too long. It takes forever to get solved, and honestly, you knew it from the beginning. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out who the CIA, or rather what happened in Africa. Also, there's a lot of problems here. Like I said, before the spoilers, you don't know where you are a lot of times. I didn't realize that Gotham City and Metropolis was right across the bay from each other. Which my brother brought the point. He's like, okay, well, if that's true, and let's say that the Dark Knight series is canon, where the hell was Superman during the No Man's Land section of that movie? Which I kind of laughed, but he had a good point. I mean, where was he? But there's some good elements to the story as well. The first roughly 10 minutes of the movie, maybe 15, where it introduces Batman's origin story, and then it shows where he was during the whole events of Man of Steel, is solid gold. That is great. That's probably one of the best scenes in the whole film. The ideals that they come out with of the whole fight sequence between Superman and Batman is really fun to watch. Granted, they're both being assholes at the time, but it's really fun to watch. There's a lot of great stuff going on in it. It's almost ripped straight from the page of The Dark Knight Returns. The nuclear scene in the sky with there's a nuke scene in space. Really well done. A lot of great effects. Superman looks awesome in that scene. He looks every bit as bad as he should during that part when the nuke goes off. I need a drink. Sorry. Throat's getting dry. But there's a lot of problems here. The philosophy between Superman versus Batman has been always that neither of them, they both operate in different means, but they both come to the same conclusion, pretty much, when it's dealing with criminals. The argument in this movie, honestly, is not there. It doesn't matter. Like I said, I can identify with Batman. I can see where he's coming from. But his argument holds no water because he's out there killing people left and right. So it doesn't bother me. I'm a big fan of the original Batman with Michael Keaton, 89. But that's a problem. in this film. I mean, we just got done with a whole trilogy dealing with a Batman that doesn't kill anybody. And I want to make this clear. I'm not opposed to a different interpretation of a character, such as Batman or Superman. You can make Superman and he can be the biggest dick in the world and be Superman. That's fine. You can make Batman be a sociopath killer and everything as long as he's Batman. And that's fine. But if you're going to face the two off against each other, you need to clearly identify what their principal psychologies are against one another. And it doesn't do that. You get a great slugfest out of it, but I mean, we all knew that the fight was going to end. It didn't really matter who won left or right. It was going to end some now note. Which brings in the rock troll, Doomsday. I don't know why they designed this thing like it is. Maybe they just couldn't design it like they did from the comics. But I'm just being honest with you, Doomsday looked awful. His second, the initial appearance of him, he looks awful. It's the worst CGI in the movie. Is Doomsday himself. The second transformation part of him at least looks better, but it's still bad looking, but it just looks better by just a short amount. So I don't really have anything positive to say about Doomsday. Let's see what else can I think here. Here's another problem I have with the film. The whole Lois Lane quest. Sorry, it's not a game. Subplot. Like I said, it's played out for way too long. One of the key things that they're asking is that they think that Superman's responsible for a bunch of deaths that happened in Africa at the beginning of the movie. When, if you got a fucking brain, you see that all the people are shot. It's, yeah, Superman flew in there, but that doesn't necessarily mean he killed them all. I mean, they were shot. And how many times have we known Superman using a gun? Because I can't remember any. So yeah, I mean, it just seems stupid, an argument that they have about that, especially as an audience goer. It really does seem stupid. Let's see what else. The whole I get why it's done this way, but there's a problem here. Batman goes and steals a bunch of information from Lex Luthor. Okay, that makes sense, and it's perfectly fine. But Wonder Woman takes it before he gets a hold of it. She gets it. She does nothing with it. Granted, it's encrypted, but there's some questions that I have. First off, how the hell does she know that Batman put it there? Second of all, how did she know it had what she would need on it? And third, if she wasn't going to be able to do anything other than in the first place, I mean, she gives it back to Batman. But I mean, it's got a lot of problems there. She gets it encrypted. He gets it de-encrypted. He gives it back to her after he reads what he wants to. And she's apparently looking for some photo for some odd reason. I guess it's going to be in the Wonder Woman movie, which I hope's 10 times better than this one. I don't know. I don't understand it. I may have missed a line of dialogue there and kind of explain what the hell was going on with it. But that's kind of my whole thing with this entire film. A lot of times, you really don't know what the hell's going on. It's just stick figures moving around, doing things, and you're kind of like, okay, and you're kind of just along for the ride. You don't really know. A lot of people I've seen said this movie's very boring. I gotta admit myself that it was kind of boring for a while. It got better as it went along, but I don't know. The end of the film, where this is something I discussed with my brother quite a bit after watching the movie. Superman getting killed by Doomsday and putting the spear through Doomsday, and he essentially dies. Now, it is awesomely cool that they got that on screen. It is. It looks good, with the exception of Doomsday looking bad. But I mean, the whole sequence does look good. The death of Superman was something iconic that happened in the 90s. It was it's one of the most well-known of all the Superman's lore within comic books, and it was awesome to see that put on screen. Too bad there was nothing that I felt for Superman there and that. And I asked my brother the same thing. When he died, did you feel anything? And he said, no. I don't feel a damn thing about it. And that's a problem, because that whole, when he was killed in the 90s during the death of Superman, that was impacting. That was felt by everybody, because people knew that character and people understood that character. People knew exactly what it felt like, or knew who he was, what he stood for, and how he was gone. So that happened. A lot of people got upset about that. I mean, there was a lot of there were things written in saying you can't do this, you don't need to do this, and it happened. And you know, the effects was monumental. This movie does nothing like that. And one of the key problems is you had Man of Steel, which we're introduced to the character, but he's not quite Superman. And then you brought out this film, which is just structurally a problem. If you were going to kill Superman off, it would have been best to do it in a third film. And this is really one of the biggest problems to the movie. They try to stick so much into it, so many characters, because they're trying to play catch up with Marvel, with the Avengers. The movie has no chance to breathe. The characters don't have a chance to breathe. The audience doesn't have a chance to think a second, because they're throwing all this exposition at you left and right. And it hurts the movie a lot. And that was supposed to be a really key sequence in the film, of Superman getting killed. And unfortunately, I felt nothing. I admit freely that the casket looks great. The death sequence itself, where he gets stabbed, it looks awesome. It looks great, but there's no feeling at all behind that from me, and that's a huge problem. To see a icon, the very first superhero, in comics at least, be killed on the big screen and not feel a damn thing. That's disheartening. That is so disheartening and disappointing. And it isn't that I don't think Zack Snyder's a good director. I think Zack Snyder's a pretty good director. It's just, I think there was a lot of corporation, or a lot of the, I think it was WB basically pushing down a lot of stuff, and they wanted to play this out as fast as they could, and push all this stuff into this film as much as they can, and it suffers for it so badly. I don't know. This film is really hard to watch. Will be probably hard to watch again. Like I said, it's a film I like, and the ideals it has, I do like. I like a lot of the ideals they have. I like the ideal of Lex Luthor manipulating Batman and Superman to fight each other. That's a pretty cool ideal. I like the ideal of, I wish there was more motivation behind it. I like the ideal that Batman is pissed off at Superman for what happened during Man of Steel, for all the collateral damage and all the people that got killed. That's the reason he wants to go after him. I just wish the ideologies would have played more of a part in it. I like the ideal of oh shoot, what was it? Sorry, there's a lot in this film. There was a lot of ideals there I did like. I just can't remember them all. Oh, I do know one other thing I really enjoyed. I like the little, I guess you'd call it a teaser trailer in the movie itself, where Wonder Woman's sitting there watching the Flash with the Flash, the Cyborg. There's the third one. Oh yeah, Aquaman. Watching all their pretty much little short story things in there, and they're pretty cool. Also, a sequence in the movie that I like the appearance of. I really do. I like the aesthetics of that. This is the issue with this. The whole sequence itself doesn't make any sense, unless it's tying into a later film. I don't know though. There's a scene where Batman is hitting a button and it starts decrypting the information thing. And then it cuts into I guess he falls asleep, and but you don't know that. It just suddenly he's coming out of a tank, and it's a desert wasteland now, and there's all these Superman guards around. They're humans, and Batman just starts gunning them down. And the aesthetics of that whole scene, I thought looked great. When we were watching, I looked over at my brother. I was like, Cody, I would pay money just to see this if it was a movie, because this looks fucking cool. And he just laughed. And then it breaks down. It's kind of funny because it has a first, second, and third act pretty much in that little short sequence. And then it ends. And a character I thought came back. I thought it was Booster Gold who suddenly shows up. Apparently it was the Flash. I had to look that up because I was uncertain, because it was really hard to tell. Because first thing I thought in my head was, is this Booster Gold? What the hell is he doing in this film? And no, it was the Flash. But he tells him, it's like, you're right. You were right about it all. Lois Lane is the key. And then he wakes up after being woke up. I don't know. It's a really strange sequence that ultimately is pointless. And it's not the only one. There's another scene where Superman is talking with his father up on top of the mountain, and apparently I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, okay, so is this another dream sequence and everything? Well, it turns out it's not. And I was like, well, I guess he's just talking to himself. I don't know where that came from. There was issues with man, I'm all over the place here. I don't know, it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot in this film that it's just like, you could have cut out a lot of it, and honestly, I don't think it would have made a better film, but you might have understood a lot more stuff to happen in it, because at the end of the day, we're kind of sitting here like this. It's like, what the fuck happened in this movie? Because it doesn't convey its ideals or the story real well. I don't know. And I mean, I could go into a bunch of other things. You know, I could go into the whole Martha thing with the Martha thing. I could go into the kryptonite spear. I could go into the Lex Luthor wanting the whole alien thing and the blood and going to water and stuff, all that. But I'm not going to, because honestly, it'd be me sitting here for hours just discussing every single thing in the movie, and I don't feel like doing that. All I can say is this movie is really problematic. There was way too much pushed into it, and it didn't need to be. I really wish that Warner Bros. Would just give the fucking movie a chance to breathe. And I really wish that, in all honesty, and I will admit this freely, I am not really a Superman fan. I really am not. I like his movies. I do watch the DC animated films, and I've seen the show, but I've never been what you call a Superman fan. But I would have loved to have seen Superman in another movie before this. had Man of Steel, a Superman movie, and then Batman versus Superman. It would have made a lot more sense than this. Because this just really pushes everything all over the place. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. Where do we go from here? Superman's dead at the end of this movie. Now, obviously, he's going to be coming back at some point. We don't know yet. Wonder Woman and Batman are going to be, I guess, go get Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman and become the Justice League. But where do we go from here? And apparently Darkseid's coming. That was another thing. I was like, okay. But, or Darkseid. I don't know. I always call him Darkseid. Where do we go from here? Can this be salvaged? Can this be fixed in Justice League? Because as far as I know, Wonder Woman's still is fixing to be shot. Suicide Squad's already in the can. I'm really looking forward to Suicide Squad a lot. I think it looks like it's going to be a lot better than this. And I'm hoping Wonder Woman looks pretty good. We'll see. I like Gal Gadot. I thought she was good as Wonder Woman, even though she was kind of playing a pointless part. But just really interested to see where to go from here. Or are we going to do a reboot because it's been critically slaughtered? Are we going to reboot or scrap the whole thing together? I don't know. And I kind of hope it isn't in a way, because I want to see these other films be made. I want to see a Wonder Woman movie. I want to see the Aquaman movie. If they ever get around to it, I'd like to make the Flash into a movie. I know they've got his own TV series. I still want to see him on the big screen. I want to see him take another shot at Green Lantern. Who's another big character I can think of? I want to see other characters on the screen. I want to see Blue Beetle. I want to see, hell, I'd like to see Plastic Man on there, for Christ's sake. But, that's kind of a Hawk Girl, Hawkman, whatever. But I don't know if they're going to do it. Like I said, this movie's going to make millions of dollars. It's going to hit the billion mark. There's no getting around that. But the problem is will people come back to see the next one because of this? That we're not so sure of. That's something I'm not sure of. Now, I'll watch, like I said, when I guess I didn't say that. When they came out and said they were making Batman vs. Superman, I was immediately gut-wrenched reaction. I was like, no. And, I'm not the only one. There was a lot of people who went like that because, like I said earlier, he should have had a second film before he did this. But they said that they were going to do that, and then they said they were going to do Suicide Squad. I was immediately more interested in the Suicide Squad movie. I was interested in see what they would do with it. And from what I've seen, it looks fun. It looks interesting. Looks cool. I guess we'll see when it comes out. But from everything I can tell, it looks a lot more interesting than this did. For the previews, anyway. But we'll see. So, I don't do too many of these movie reviews as far as movies that just came out. And one of the main reasons is because my job, I'm a truck driver, so I don't get to see that many of the films that do come out. I still have yet to see Deadpool. I want to see Deadpool. I've been avoiding spoilers. I just finally saw The Age of Ultron, for crying out loud. I need to rewatch that because I didn't understand what was going on in the episode. I was tired of watching it. I don't get to go to the theater that often, and so it's always a treat to go. I usually go with either my daughter or my brother, and despite the movie not being that good, I had a blast watching it with him. Like I said, I liked it. It's not that good. So I don't know. I guess this I'm rambling around a lot. I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad. I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman and Aquaman movie. If they, I know for a fact they're probably going to release Suicide Squad. Whether Wonder Woman actually gets made, I don't know. I hope so. And then Aquaman's up for grabs. I don't know if it's going to be. But I guess we'll just have to play the wait and see game. So, anyway, I'm taking up your time. I am the Renegade Gamer, and I appreciate you watching the video. And I hope you have a great day, great night, whenever you see this. So, I need to come up with a new outro because apparently I'm terrible at this. So, anyway, y'all take it easy and